Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Robert Ziggy Ziegler up at Harvard University, and producer Zack is with us, the best executive producer in the game. Jack can't make it today, but we might. We'll see how free agency falls over the next couple of days. Of course, the official start of the NFL calendar year is later this afternoon. This video coming out on Wednesday morning. Go ahead, Ziggy.
Ian Rappaport said Trey Hendrickson's signing today.
Yeah, so we might have some instant reaction stuff, maybe an episode where we're not sure. This is still the kind of time of year where everything's getting settled, and it's more what's happening in the moment than having a full-on plan as far as this show goes. So hopefully we'll get into more of a consistent routine coming up. I was on a vacation pretty much this weekend. So Ziggy, round of applause for Ziggy stepping up on Monday night, recording a solo video. I was in Florida, in the sunshine, chilling out, and Ziggy's like, hey, we got work to do here. I'm going to buckle down and do a 30-minute solo pod. A 30-minute solo pod for Ziggy. Is that your longest solo reaction, too?
I've done some longer lives, but in terms of just sitting down and talking to the camera, yeah.
No edits. At least, I listened through the whole thing, and I don't think there were any edits that I missed. No edits, just raw Ziggy for 30 minutes, hearing his opinions on free agency day one. And it was a great video. Went over 10,000. Added some subscribers to a channel that's begging for it. We heard Ziggy's last time Ziggy had -1 subs from his video, which despite, again, being a very good video, this had to feel a little bit like redemption. And you just did a great job, Ziggy. I really enjoyed listening to that episode.
Well, speaking of begging for subscribers, if you're enjoying the videos we're putting out there, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're chasing down 30K. The big trace. We could absolutely use every single one of you.
I almost had a feeling of not even coming on today after seeing the reactions. Me and Zach were like, we might have something special.
We had a bunch of comments saying, like, just get rid of Paul.
Yeah, just get rid of, not even mentioning Jack, and not like, it's just let Ziggy go with the camera, and I'll step into my more natural role of being produced, my actual job, right? Ziggy's got to turn into a talent, like a real talent, though, where he's like, starts bitching and moaning about graphics and things like that. Not that actually anyone I've worked with has ever been like that.
I mean, I'm just saying you were late on that thumbnail.
Yeah, right. There we go. That sounds more like it. Fortunately, I have not worked with anyone like that, but I have heard horror stories. Jack every once in a while will get like that with the cap of the week. I'll get a text. It's like Friday afternoon. Jack's sitting out by his pool. I'm finishing my actual job, and Jack will be like, "Hey, are you close to finishing the cap of the week?" I'm like, oh my God. I want to get outside. I'm like, give me an hour.
Well, my views, if you want it put out, I've cut reels before. I've made thumbnails before. You got to do it yourself if you want it done fast. Otherwise, professionals work at their own speed. And as I say, basically every time we ever have a conversation, Paul, there's a reason why you're the pro.
No, yeah. But anyway, today, so a little more of that, Ziggy flair during this episode, because I was traveling home this morning. And Ziggy said, hey, I got the rundown. So this rundown, these questions, they're Ziggy designed. We're going to go through them. I'll have some touches here and there, but you're getting another mostly Ziggy driven episode right now. We're going to dive a little bit deeper into the NFC North than Ziggy went. Yes. What?
Elton Jenkins just signed with the Browns. What do you know?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did see that. A little recent.
See, this is the thing when we're recording, like news can come in any time.
Didn't that happen like 3 hours ago?
I thought it happened 3 hours ago, but it's coming across Ziggy's feed for the first time right now. So we're going to dive a little deeper into some of the NFC North teams. Ziggy went really in depth on, Malik Willis yesterday. Yeah, Zach, there you go. Congratulations.
Can we just, before we get in this, can we get producer Zach's opinion on the Malik Willis trade or on the Malik Willis signing?
I think $15 million a year, right? Basically $15 million a year. I think he got $67.5 million.
It's a lot more than $15 million a year.
Well,
$45 million is fully guaranteed. So really it's like $23 million a year.
Yeah. So a little hefty, I think, of a price for essentially somebody who backed up and we saw play, 2 games last year. Looked really good. Look, that's great. Small sample size, though. Small sample size.
Yeah, it was a 3-year, $67.5 million deal, $45 million fully guaranteed. So are you excited about it? I was talking with some people about this earlier.
You know why I'm excited is because we have nothing to prove. Basically,
I get that.
Full restart mode. So it's like, I'm excited in the fact that, like, hey, maybe this guy pans out, and if he doesn't pan out, oh well. We're in
It
rebuild.
does seem like most people are going into this thinking it's not going to work. That I've heard that with their opinions of it. And I know, obviously Halfley, your new GM, right? They're Packer guys. They've seen Malik Willis behind the scenes.
We're the Green Bay Dolphins.
You're turning into that. I just think the Malik Willis story is one of the coolest ones of this entire offseason.
I want to be clear. I'm very negative on the Malik Willis signing. I hope he plays well. This is not me wishing failure on him or anything like that. It's a hefty contract.
It's a hefty contract, but I get what Zach's saying. The Dolphins don't really feel like there's any pressure there. Malik is going into a situation where he has everything to gain, right? No one expected him to get a contract like this coming into the last season. He obviously, right, he does have something to lose, but it feels...
No, he has nothing to lose. He went from a guy who looked like he was going to wash out of the NFL to a guy who's going to make $50 million.
Yeah, and he is now completely set for life. And that's awesome for him. What I do keep going back to is that Chicago Bears game, though, where he came in for Jordan Love, right? Critical game with the NFC North on the line. And there had been other times where he came in previous seasons where a lot of running, right? In 2023 when he was in for Love, a lot of running, heavy run games, heavy run designs from Matt LaFleur where Malik had to make a couple throws. That Bears game, he was ripping it in the cold, right? On the road, division game. He looked like a star, not just a capable quarterback, a star quarterback. And if you're a Dolphins fan and you're trying to find reasons for optimism, I'm just watching that game on loop because we left that. I remember, Ziggy, we were getting ready to do our reaction, and I had the thumbnail made saying Malik Willis saves Packers. It was just one of the better quarterback performances of the year, in my opinion.
And I'm pretty sure after that game, we said something like Malik Willis just made himself tens of millions of dollars.
Yeah, that is the game that got him this contract, and I'm looking forward to it for you guys, Zach. It's fun when you have someone with the potential that Malik seemed to show last year, even if it was just a flash.
You know what it makes? It makes this season kind of worth watching.
Oh, 100%.
Because if I'm going to be honest, if it was like Quinn Ewers or somebody back there, not that like I don't think he should have gotten a shot too, but I'd
probably rather see Quinn Ewers, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you still might see him.
Yeah, you still might. Yeah,
fair enough.
Kind of fun about it is if Malik sucks, you're going to see Quinn Ewers. And if he's good, then that's awesome for the Dolphins. You got a quarterback you can build around.
I'm going to be honest. We also have picked up no offensive linemen this year, and good chance Malik is running for his life. Yeah,
you guys have Malik, and then I'm looking here. You got Greg Dulcich and Zane Gonzalez. so Dulcich, you're re-signing on a one-year deal. So there's still so many holes on the Dolphins, but Malik can run. So
look, you got Malik, you got Jalen Waddle, you got Devon Achane. What more do you want?
I mean, that's a lot of speed.
Line.
Yeah, an offensive line, some defensive, some cornerbacks maybe could help.
Yeah.
But still, it's a start, right? And I don't think anyone has expectations for the Dolphins.
Maybe not $99 million in cap space, dead cap space. That would help too.
Well, the good news is you hired an offensive coordinator that's been known for his ability to improvise play calling and improve offensive line play where he goes.
Oh, good.
Bobby Slowick from the Texans.
Nice.
I still think it's a fun signing for Miami, and if the
it'll get butts in seats. And what more do the Dolphins need than that?
If the Vikings had signed Malik Willis, I would have been intrigued. I wouldn't have been jumping out of my seat like you're not, but I would be like, yeah, okay, like if this works, I'm going to be pretty damn happy. So I think it's a good one for the Dolphins to at least turn the page from Tua. And my dad brought up a good point today about Tua that I just completely forgot. When everyone was talking about Tua coming to the Vikings, he said there was never a chance. I was like, what? Why? Because, and then he went Flores. It's like, oh yeah, duh. Like, there's no way Tua was ever going to come to the Vikings with Brian Flores there.
Yeah, probably not.
The guy. He hates but that was a real conversation everyone was talking about, and I heard no one say, "Oh wait, Brian Flores is there," and Tua Tagovailoa hates his guts. Like that was just how did that slip under the rug? I don't know, but in hindsight, yeah, that was never.
I never thought about that too. We might have to post that.
Yeah. How did that go unnoticed by everybody? Did you hear one person say that?
No.
Tagovailoa probably.
I feel like an idiot right now sitting.
So did I. So did I. Even when my dad asked me, he was like, "Yeah, you know why you would never come?" I was like, he has to go in the cold weather to Green Bay and Chicago and for a playoff game or big late division game." He's like, "No, he hates Brian Flores." So yeah, great point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess if you're a Viking fan, you're wondering why the Vikings don't have Tua Tagovailoa right now. Yeah, there's no world where Tua would have come to our team.
I also find it funny that he's on Atlanta.
Atlanta?
Yeah.
Well, just another Michael Penix, like left-handed.
Just gonna get absolutely rocked.
Oh, jeez.
I do feel bad for Tua because Tua's not even left-handed, and he has to play left-handed.
I know, that is funny.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's right-handed in everything else, and his dad's the only lefty in his family. And dad's like, well, I'm a lefty, so I'm going to make you throw left-handed. So starting at like 2 years old, he'd take Tua out to the beach and force him to throw left-handed, and if he didn't, he'd beat him up.
Wait, I'm sorry. When you say beat him up.
With a belt.
What? I missed that story, but now we've crossed the line where I
like the Tua story. It's an insane story.
I know his dad forced him to play left-handed. I didn't know to that extent.
beat him with a belt. That's you look. I mean,
Well, Tua said that was formative in his upbringing.
I guess we're not the show where we're going to dive into that, but we clearly have.
I wish the best for Tua in Atlanta. The guy deserves it.
I do not.
Yeah, even after hearing that, Zach's like, yeah, I hope he flames out in Atlanta. Jeez. All right, so let's dive into the NFC North teams here. We're gonna start with the Packers. That's obviously we know we have a lot of Packers listeners, and Green Bay. The question that Ziggy put here: are they losing too many pieces? And when you go down the list of players the Packers have lost, Malik Willis, Quay Walker, Kingsley Enagbare. They cut Nate Hobbs. Elton Jenkins cut. Rasheed Walker expected to be gone. Romeo Doubs just signed with the Patriots. Colby Wooden traded to the Colts. Rashawn Gary traded to the Cowboys for a 4th-round draft pick, which, they're happy about that. But still,
he's gone.
You're losing a lot of guys. You need to replace a lot of guys. And the question Ziggy asked me when we were briefly talking about this while I'm at the airport, he said, do you really think that this team is going to be better equipped to go on a run than last year? And my answer to him was, once again, the Packers are in the position where they're hoping guys are coming back from injuries and take some steps up. And Ziggy, you said that wasn't enough for you.
Well, how many times we've been hearing if the Packers just have a couple players break out and they stay healthier, it's going to work great. At a certain point, you can't sit back and hope that like Christian Watson's going to play a complete season. Has Christian Watson ever played a complete season? For the Packers, I don't think he's ever started 17 games for them. I think the most he played was in 2024, where he was inactive for a couple games. Tucker Kraft, he'll probably be healthy next year. But again, you have to sit back and say, we need Matthew Golden to break out. We need guys on the offensive line to break out. It's the same thing we've been hearing from Green Bay for 3 years now, and it hasn't gotten them a playoff win.
I don't think we saw Watson, Reed, and Kraft on the field. What?
The Maxx Crosby trade just didn't go through.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah, it says the Baltimore Ravens have backed out of the trade agreement for Maxx Crosby.
Ravens, Knicks. Oh no.
Okay, hold on. We have to live react to this. I'm trying to see what does it mean they backed out? Did he fail a physical?
Just in, Ravens backed out of the.
Yeah, the Raiders just posted on X. The Baltimore Ravens have backed out of our trade.
Oh, this is
for Maxx Crosby. We will have no further comment at this time.
This is. Well, we don't know what happened, but let's assume that something. There's not another story that's horrible associated with this.
No. My guess is that it's a physical issue.
But in the event that Maxx Crosby can play football next year, there's no world now that he's going to be on the Raiders. And I sat back today and said to my dad, "Thank God he went to the Ravens," because I thought for sure he was going to go to the Chicago Bears. Oh, this is not good.
Or Green Bay is letting all these guys walk. They have all this money now. No, I don't. My guess is if the Raiders can't get 2 first-round picks, I think Dallas is a potential landing spot. There's a lot of places.
No, dude, we know how this goes. Come on, are you kidding me?
Oh, I'm trying to talk myself into it. Let me talk myself into it.
Whoa, that's.
So you're telling me the Raiders now just spent $120 million on bad players, and now they have to figure out what to do with Maxx Crosby.
Well, they're gonna. He's going to be gone.
Yeah, but they're going to have to. They're not getting a return as good as what they got from Baltimore. I couldn't believe the return they got.
I can't believe that's happening. I thought that was a joke, and then I saw it was Adam Schefter's actual account.
How pissed off are you 1 to 10 right now if you're a Ravens fan? Has to be
1.
10. What, you don't like giving away the?
They gave up way too much for him. I mean, it sucks that they handled their free agency and let guys walk.
I know it was 2 firsts. What else was in that? It was 2 firsts and what?
It was basically 2 firsts.
I mean, I didn't think that was insane. Max Crosby's a monster. He single-handedly takes over games. I mean, I was saying to Bears fans after the DJ Moore trade, you can get excited about, like, think about the prospect of Crosby and why it might be worth going all in on him. Look at the game that he had against you last year. You were a one-man wrecking crew. He almost beat the Bears by himself. Like, this guy's that good. The character off the field, the work ethic, everyone's always raving about him. I thought for Baltimore, a team that, needed a jolt, it felt like, as a franchise, that it was perfect. And I think it's crushing for them. It's got to be. Once
you built a plan around having him, they must be really unhappy about something, because backing out of this completely ruins their offseason plans.
No, I mean, it takes them 100% out of it. No, I mean, sorry, not out of it, like competition wise. I just mean, like, that's a huge loss for them.
When was the last time this ever happened? Is this ever happened? I can't remember
a player this. I mean, it has to have happened, but I can't remember the last time with a player this big.
Yeah, Deanna Rossini said it's a failed physical for Max Crosby.
Really? I guess. Well, what did he get? His shoulder? Didn't he get what? What did he get? His knee, right? Didn't he just get his knee worked on?
Yeah, and apparently Jordan Schultz just said that the expectation is Baltimore is going to sign Trey Hendrickson.
Wow. Okay, so we were just talking about Trey Hendrickson before we started. So
I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. You can get him for a similar price you're going to pay Crosby and not give up 2 firsts.
No, it's
that
nice.
Market's depressed.
I don't think Hendrickson's as good as Crosby, but it's a good consolation, especially with the picks back. But that is shocking, and
we're just hearing about this, like, as we're recording. This is not scripted or whatever. That's just why we don't have anything more intelligent to say. That's insane.
Well, if I'm the Chicago Bears, the asking price has gone down. I might just be like, hey, you know what?
Well, if it is a failed physical, do you risk it?
Well, I think failed physical can mean a lot of different things. Failed physical can mean we found an issue we don't like and we're worried we paid too much, and we're seeing Trey Hendrickson's available for cheaper than we thought.
I was going to say to Zach, that sounds like a Dolphins fan. Last time Dolphins were majorly in the news with a failed physical. What did that probably cost you? A Super Bowl with Drew Brees?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You have to imagine it was really bad. Ziggy, I didn't think about that though. What if the Ravens saw something like, for 2 firsts? I don't know. But if you're the Bears now, the asking price goes down. Maybe that physical, when you check it out, is something you can overlook. Like it. I think it's on the table still, right? Assuming we don't know enough information yet. But if I'm a team that was linked to Max Crosby, my ears are shot right up. A little more research needs to go.
I mean, the phones are going to be ringing in Vegas all night for 100%. John Spidek.
I mean, if the asking price goes down and the injury isn't, or whatever the physical that failed wasn't that severe, he's still going to get moved. I'd be beyond shocked if Crosby.
No, he can't come back.
Yeah, like he's going to be moved. Someone's going to go and do something. But we just don't like the teams that are all rumored to be doing something. The Ravens were the perfect out. It's like, okay, get him out of the comp or keep him in the AFC. I don't like this at all.
I mean, but if the knee really is bad, because Baltimore's losing a lot backing out here. If they think the knee, which I assume it is, because that's where the Raiders held him out at the end of the year. If it's that bad, I don't know.
I'm surprised it's that bad. I know Crosby wanted to play right at the end of the season. They told him no.
Look, but guys will play through anything.
No, I know, but we're just gonna have to wait. It sounds like Baltimore might not even say anything. They said we're out. We're not commenting.
Baltimore hasn't said anything at all.
Wow.
Well, back to Green Bay.
Yeah, back to Green Bay here. That's crazy news. I think if I had to put money on it right now, I think Crosby's going to wind up going to Chicago.
Yeah,
like that. That's what I thought initially before Baltimore came in. But I mean, when you look at the Bears right now, they still need the edge rusher, like pretty badly.
I guess him going to like the Saints or something like that. Something random, you know that?
Someone random comes in.
Yeah, someone random.
Well, if I'm Max Crosby, I'm upset because Baltimore was a great spot to go.
Baltimore was a perfect spot to go.
Yeah.
You felt you get a chance to compete for a Super Bowl, and you can be the guy that pushes them over the edge.
Like, I don't think he wants to go to New Orleans. Why would he want to go there?
You think about, like the closers that some of these teams have. That's what the Packers trade for Michael Parsons, right? Someone that they want to close games out and make that Aaron Donald Super Bowl play. The Ravens on that D line, we're hoping that Crosby is going to be the guy that when you're chasing around Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow in the playoff, maybe I shouldn't say Burrow right now, but you're chasing around those guys in the NFL playoffs. He's the difference maker. And to have that given to you and then taken back, that's got to be tough, man. That is
Ravens players on that Ravens defense are probably crushed too. Like if you're Kyle Hamilton, you thought we're getting a game wrecker to go next to me.
We're just gonna. I don't know if we'll ever hear exactly what it was, but you have to think that. I don't know. It's surprising that happened, to say it in the least.
I mean, this is one of the most shocking events in an NFL trade I can remember.
Yeah, that's nuts. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll wind up backfiring in our face here, but so the Packers, what we were saying before, they've lost a ton of guys, right? Some of the big ads or keeps that they had. Sean Ryan, right? Center was a position for them. That was an area of need, and they wind up bringing their guy back who was okay last year. You'd like to see some improvement. Benjamin St-Juste is going to replace Nate Hobbs, and we like that signing actually quite a bit here. When you dive into it, you see the first 4 years of St-Juste's career playing a lot of man coverage in Washington. When he moved over to Jesse Minter and his own schemes in LA last year, kind of a career breakout year for him. And the Packers get him on a good, 2 years, $10 million?
Yeah.
So maybe not someone, we'll see. I'm sure they're going to continue to look at that corner. But someone that, finally had kind of his moment last year, that he can build on that. Jonathan Gannon, very zone heavy as well. So just someone who played really good football last year. He's 6'3", big dude. I think that's an exciting signing for them. Zaire Franklin, again, the trade with the Colts, and Sky Moore, I think, was on Tuesday afternoon as well. So there's still a lot. You're waiting for that next news out of Green Bay, but the bigger news at the moment is all of the guys who have left, not who they have quite brought in at this point. I know Javon Hargrave they've been linked to because nose tackle is the big question right now. But yeah, Ziggy, when you look up and down the Packers at this point in time, do you feel like they're going to be a better football team next year, talent-wise, than the team they fielded in 2025?
The Green Bay Packers are basically guaranteed to be less talented next year.
But do you think, is that fair given the amount of injuries?
Well,
because I think they will actually be better. Because, maybe if you gave them their full healthy roster last year, but they didn't play with the healthy roster.
Yeah, but are they going to play with a full healthy roster next year either? Now, you can say credibly, well, it was almost all the stars getting hurt, and that's probably not going to happen again. But do I want to bet on Jaden Reed and Christian Watson being healthy all of next year? I appreciate them getting rid of Hobbs because this helps them with the injury issue. But if the Packers are much healthier next year, that's good. But Quay Walker, I know he wasn't super popular, but he was a solid player. Romeo Doubs is a very good player. And once again, this is a position where you have to sit back and say, well, maybe Zaire Franklin, who was maybe the worst linebacker in the NFL last year, can break out this year. You can say, well, surely Matthew Golden is going to be able to take a step up. And look, there's reasons to believe that'll happen. But how many years has it been saying Green Bay, they've got a couple players at the top. They just need guys to step forward and fill in key positions, and they're going to be good.
Yeah, I'm getting texts coming in right now saying, holy shit, he failed his physical from Packers fans.
He's not going to the Packers.
No, I don't think that'll.
That doesn't make any sense for either side. Unless.
Yeah. God. No, if Crosby went to the Packers, I'd throw a hissy fit. If he goes to the Bears, I'll be really upset too. But
this is the thing about what Green Bay always does. Green Bay,
they have no picks. They don't have picks. They can't.
And Green Bay's letting all these guys walk because they're worried about future extensions, right? They're worried about keeping Jaden Reed. They really want to be able to sign Christian Watson or whatever he's going to demand. And after seeing this Alex Pierce deal, Watson's in a position to demand a lot of money. They know they're going to have to pay Tucker Kraft a boatload. I get that. But Green Bay is always forward thinking, and this helps keep them competitive. But it has stopped them from going all in when they could afford to keep some of these guys if they wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Watson will be the decision with him right after Alec Pierce gets $29 million a season right now.
Yeah, for a guy who had his best season last year going for 1,000 yards.
Yeah, he's never had over 47 receptions in his career, I don't think. And it's like, I don't know that if that's resetting the market, we were talking about this as well. It's a dangerous game with Christian Watson. So I think he's really good. I think I've been one of the bigger Christian Watson defenders, at least in the media that I've consumed. Most people have been pretty down on him, but I've always felt he was the most talented guy in that room, the Packer receiver room, when he can play. The problem is he's not on the field a lot. And if the going rate now, if Christian Watson's probably looking at Alec Pierce going, I can do that. If I played a full season, I want $30 million. And that's a tough decision for the Packers if you want to put that kind of money, that investment into a guy who can't stay on the field very often. Like, it's the same way with the quarterback market. Look at some of these teams getting burned. I mean, we just talked with Zach about the Dolphins and Tua, burned in that regard. The Broncos with Russell Wilson. I mean, the Falcons with Kirk Cousins. Like, you hand over a lot of money to someone that you're not positive is worth it, and it's just $30 million is a lot. I
just want to read you the free agents Green Bay has next year. The guys who are entering free agency. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, Carl Brooks, Isaiah McDuffie, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, Christian Watt, Dontavian Wicks, Devontae Wyatt, Lucas Van Ness, Jaden Reed.
Yeah. So they got
like half the starters on this team are entering free agency next year, which is why they're sitting back and letting some guys go now.
It is crazy how these windows, right? Like when you got to pay guys and the books get a little more expensive. Packers have been the youngest team in the league for a while, but eventually, you got to pay up. And they have some interesting choices to make here. Obviously, Tucker Kraft will get a deal. But, Christian Watson, I do think is one where they're probably going to do it. But you still have to kind of.
When you have wide receiver 1, 2, and 3 hitting free agency at the same time, it's tough.
Well, and that's where it comes down to what you're talking about with Matthew Golden, right? Like Matthew Golden, it needs to step up this season. Lucas Van Ness is someone they want to step up last year. You want him to step up this year, right? Even if you go and get another edge rusher somewhere, like he needs to be someone who's productive, especially when Mike goes out for the first few weeks. Zaire Franklin, turning 30, coming off a bad year. You want him to bounce back. I look at the Packers defense, and I said this when they hired Jonathan Gannon. I'm not worried about the offense. I think Jordan Love in that offense will be just fine. The offensive line has some new faces that maybe that'll take a little adjusting. And yet, if you're a Packer fan, you're hoping doesn't have some disaster attached to it. But the real concern to me is how is that defense going to look? And now you have a lot of new faces coming in. And you're hoping for a lot of guys to step up when that's been, the Achilles heel for them. It's like obviously injuries last year, but also guys just not stepping up and taking them to that next level. So there's still more work to be done, and we'll see. The nose tackle is the big hole. And later today, you might hear some news. It looks like they're going after Javon Hargrave, but it's a pretty bare nose tackle group to select from right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why the Vikings, who certainly could use an effective nose tackle, are letting Hargrave leave.
Yeah, Hargrave wasn't good last season. I mean, if something was happening on the Vikings defense, it was Jonathan Grenard or Jalen Redmond, right? Our defensive tackle who came burst out onto the scene.
Yeah, Jalen Redmond's restricted free agent. Like maybe A'Shawn Robinson might be the best guy you can get.
Yeah, if the Packers get Javon Hargrave, I'm seeing people write like, in 2021 and 2022, this was from the Packers Sports Illustrated writer, 2021, 2022, he had 18 and a half sacks and 19 tackles for loss during those seasons. I mean, that was 5 years ago. That's 4 or 5 years ago. It's we can go back and look at a lot of guys 4 or 5 years ago being way different players.
I mean, Javon Hargrave is 33. He'll be 34 by the end of next season. Like, it's tough.
Yeah. So Green Bay, we need to pay a little more attention, but they have the assets, right, to go and make a move right now. We're gonna have to wait and see what it is. But right now, it's kind of still that waiting game of I think they'll be okay though. To answer your initial question of are they losing too much, I think they'll be okay. All right. So I guess we could go over to Chicago here. Your question was, are they doing enough to improve the roster? Where this Bears team, right, lost a lot of their secondary to free agency. NFC North defending champions looking to take that next jump up. You could come into today, right, an hour ago, and you could say, they may have missed out on the big fish they were hoping for, but Maxx Crosby may now actually be back on the table. But they have made a handful of signings. Just quickly to run through them, they get Khalif Raymond, reunite him with Ben Johnson, maybe add a little bit of danger to the return game. Kobe Bryant, the safety from Seattle, who you just think about how good that Cincinnati team was, right? Kobe Bryant, Sauce Gardner, Alec Pierce, some of the money that's going into these players right now. He's turned into one of the better safeties in the league since transitioning over there. It's a great way to fill some of the needs that they have. Garrett Bradbury, they trade for Garrett.
Apparently elite.
Who is apparently elite now. Yep, apparently a great center. And Braxton Jones is going to be coming back. He'll be competing for the left tackle job. Devin Bush.
They brought in Devin Bush from the Browns, right?
Yep, big signing for Devin Bush, who has had a little bit of a resurgence in Cleveland over the past couple of years. Career high in tackles last season. Really good against the run. Better in coverage. Very fast player when he came out of school. That was always, he has elite speed, and the Bears are trying to get faster on defense. And DeMarco Jackson they re-signed, who was one of their better coverage linebackers in the league last season. So they've made a handful of moves. And Ziggy, to answer your own question, do you think that the Bears are setting themselves up to improve?
I really like that the Bears are mostly opting into continuity. Now, it tells you what they thought about the defense that I think fans were really high on last year. Like, Bears fans, I understand, loved Nahshon Wright. The Bears let him walk for like $3.5 million. The Bears did not think he was a very effective player.
Nahshon Wright had a lot of key, just great plays, right? He had a ton of great plays, but he also gave up chunk yards. And
yeah,
to me, I'd rather have my cornerback just be, if you could pick between big plays or lockdown, and I know that this isn't is a little, having a lockdown corner is hard, but if you could pick between lockdown or big plays, it's actually probably go lockdown, because
why can't Trayvon Diggs find a team?
Yeah, like if you're getting burned half the time, it just takes away a bit from those big interceptions and fumbles. And Nahshon Wright, he did it last year, but let's say he doesn't get those turnovers in 2026, that could be a problem now.
Yeah, like in my view, this Chicago team, I don't think they were a great team last year, but they were a very good team. They played solid offense. The defense had ups and downs, but I like that what they're doing is keeping things as similar as possible, especially on offense. And on defense, just trying to bring in guys they think can be reliable contributors. Like, Kobe Bryant will be a reliable contributor. Neville Gallimore will probably be a reliable contributor. These aren't going to be guys that move the needle in a huge way. But all the Bears should be hoping for from their defense, and all they need if Caleb Williams does what they want him to do, is just to be okay. To not force hero ball every single game, because that's not what they want to do. Moving off DJ Moore and Tremaine Edmonds at price, I think makes a lot of sense. DJ Moore just didn't fit in the offense anymore, and they really want to give Luther Burden his opportunity. They got good compensation from the Bills for it. I think it's fine for the Bears to take a year off from being off-season champs and just focus on making solid moves that leave them with mostly the same team. Because if that team keeps improving, like I think they can, they will be competing for the division, and they'll be competing for the playoff wins next year.
Yeah, I know they signed Cam Lewis, right? A cornerback. He's more of a depth guy, but they still need another corner. They still need another edge rusher. There are still some pieces that need to be fixed here. But I do really...
That's what the draft's for. Yeah, they've got a lot of picks in this draft. They've got 25, 57, 60, 89. You can start addressing those.
Oh, yeah. I know. I really like where Chicago's at right now. And my whole take the entire offseason, why I've said that they're the team to circle, is if you do get that jump from Caleb, the team that they have surrounding him right now is good enough that they can really be dangerous.
And it's worth building around that, because if you don't get a jump from Caleb, it's not going to be a good year for you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I like what they've done so far. And Khalif Raymond, pay attention to that in special teams, right? Like he's an electrifying returner. Those guys can matter. Look at Rashid Shaheed and the impact he had on Seattle this year, just in the return game, right? I think he saved their season against the Rams. I think this is good. I think they've done a nice job. Kobe Bryant, younger than Kevin Byard. The receivers get a little younger. I know DJ Moore people still like, but that was someone I think you could let go and you get good value in return.
Any move you can make that has Amon-Ra St. Brown posting crying emojis on Twitter saying best teammate I've ever had.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Yeah. So we'll pay attention to Maxx Crosby because that happens. Things change very quickly about how this, it changes the outlook of the Bears offseason line. Zach, I know before Maxx Crosby news broke, we had like Zach was like, hey, can we like try and keep it in line for.
No, keep.
Are you good? Yeah, you're good. Okay, cool. Because we didn't expect that news to break.
No.
Trey Hendrickson to the Bears also could make sense.
Yeah, the Lions and Bears have kind of been linked, right, to Hendrickson throughout this whole process, and wherever Hendrickson, we said what to the Ravens, right? That's what is expected.
Yeah, but it's the Bears will be in the bidding market on these players.
Speaking of, right, Khalif Raymond leaves the Detroit Lions. The Lions have lost Raymond. I love that Alex Anzalone's gone. I know that he's getting older, but it felt like anytime he played the Vikings, that dude quite literally had his hair on fire. We know he has a lot of hair to begin with, but that guy was just a lunatic. Amik Robertson gone. David Montgomery, we know, traded. Taylor Decker, he's gone as well now. Graham Glasgow. So some guys across that offensive line continue to take hits, but they do bring Cade Mays in. The center, one of the guys who maybe not on Tyler Linderbaum's level, but he was one of the acceptable centers of free agency. And then was it Larry Borum? I barely know anything about Larry Borum. I know he started 11 games for the Dolphins in 2025. And
who?
Larry Borum.
Who?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And it looks like Penei Sewell. Ziggy, your question was, what's Detroit's best path to relevance in 2026? They brought in Pacheco to replace David Montgomery, by the way.
Which I really like.
Yeah. Oh, I love Isaiah Pacheco. He's violent, vicious runner. He might be the hardest runner in football. Right.
He's going to fit right in Detroit behind Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, that's a great Knuckles replacement for. Honestly, he's probably more fitting of Knuckles coming over from a red team, right? Like all the comparisons you could have for Knuckles. He runs tough. I love watching him play, and he had an injury riddled year. So getting him healthy, he'll be a great compliment to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Fantasy team this year.
Who?
Pacheco?
No, he wasn't.
This is why Paul likes him.
No, he wasn't on my team. Rutgers guy, us being in Jersey, I've always really enjoyed watching him play. I think he's a lunatic. But to answer your question, Ziggy, best path to relevance in 2026. Obviously, like the Packers, right? They need to stay healthy, but it's getting the offensive line back to what it was. That was the identity of this team when you really dove into it and you thought about how, the nitty gritty Lions and how tough they were. That offensive line was just, especially on the interior, a disaster. And it felt like once you were able to penetrate that, everything got affected. The running game, we saw some weeks where Jahmyr Gibbs, it was like under 50 yards. How's that possible? Jared Goff had just some terrible games. And we are accustomed to him being kind of a machine for the past few years in Detroit. To me, that all starts up front. And they bring in Borum, who Zach doesn't even know, but you move Sewell to the left side of the line. You have a new center. You're hoping Mahogany and Tate Ratledge can be, decent at guard, but there's still a lot of questions there. And I'm not really expecting it to be anything close to the unit we saw a couple of years ago, but that's the best path for them to be relevant again or to get back to the playoffs is reestablish that identity up front. And right now, I think there's still a lot of questions about it.
It's funny. I think because Detroit had so many injuries in 2024, people forget that they were almost as injured in 2025.
Yeah.
Indeed, the people of the advanced injury analytics say 2025 was actually worse than 2024 because there were so many players. 2024 was all about season-ending injuries, but 2025 there were so many more guys playing hurt, missing games here and there, like Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta. A bunch of important players were out last year too. I don't know exactly how moving Penei Sewell to the left side is going to go. That is risky, just because you're asking a guy who's played his entire NFL career at a position at the highest level to move somewhere else. I'm not saying I think it's going to be a disaster, but that could take time. Though it worked with Tristan Wirfs, right? So it's not like it can't work. This team is going.
Oh, he's so good that I think he'll be fine. I mean,
but it can be an adjustment starting the season, right? If he starts out slow next year, and slow for Penei Sewell is being an above average tackle, but the Lions are going to be in a dogfight in the division. You need to win every single game and start out as strong as you can. So I think this Lions team is going to go as far as Jared Goff can take them. And sometimes people say, well, I guess the Lions aren't going very far. Jared Goff has been very good the last 2 seasons, and he's done a lot of work for this Lions team. If the offensive line improves just a little bit, I think Detroit's going to win the division next year.
But that's the problem for me is when we say as far as Jared Goff can take them, I don't know how far Goff can take them if the line's not holding up. He's not mobile at all. When you get pressure on him, I know I've always felt that Goff under pressure folds pretty quickly. I don't know if the numbers support that, but we've seen games where when you get after him. Sorry, did you have it looked like you had a stat? Right?
The numbers show that Jared Goff is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history under pressure.
Yeah, well, you know what? Then I disagree because I've watched him under pressure, and I'm thinking of a handful of games where Jared Goff under pressure is a turnover machine. Maybe
basically every quarterback is bad under pressure.
Sure, but Jared Goff.
It's a lot harder to throw a football when there's a guy 300 pounds running 20 miles an hour about to smash you.
And it hurts. It hurts when you can't move either, and Goff can't move.
I will say, I believe when Goff was on the Rams, with the Dolphins, made him look like a fool when we just played cover 0 and blitzed him every.
Yeah, I mean, look, whenever anyone's under pressure, they're going to be worse. But I'm not trying to argue that, but I do think that Jared Goff is someone who has a tougher time avoiding pressure than most. And then when you give him time, he picks you apart. And that's the whole thing, right? That it came back to with who the Lions used to be up front. I think their other side, I think on defense, their D-line, I think can use a lot of work. And they have guys coming back, but that still feels like a one-man show with Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, Jack Campbell, right? One of the best linebackers in football last season. The safeties get healthy. Yeah, Anzalone's gone now. But the safeties are good. And you're going to have Arnold and Rakestraw coming back from injuries. With DJ Reed, so you feel okay maybe in the secondary, but I think up front for the Lions on both sides of the ball, they need to figure it out there, and I think easily, yes, definitely win the division.
I'm wondering about that second edge rusher, but if you ask me to predict right now who's winning the division, I'm going Detroit.
Yeah, and I don't think that's a bad take. So like even though we sound very negative on Detroit, like
you sound very negative.
Well, I'm not super negative. I'm negative on their O-line, which I do think has a ripple effect on the entire offense, clearly. Right? I mean, we've seen as Vikings fans what happens when your O-line's not there. People underrate the importance of your offensive line until you have a bad offensive line. It's like, yeah, it's a problem. So yeah, well that's the key for them getting back. The Vikings now, the final NFC North team we have here.
I don't even know what to say about the Minnesota Vikings. No, we're losing our punter to record-setting contracts. Jalen Naylor is gone.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you this right now, and I'm going to sound, maybe this sounds uninformed. I don't know, or like I'm not diving into the film the right way. We're losing our punter. I just don't care.
He was the most important player on our team.
Look, Ryan Wright.
There is nobody for the Minnesota Vikings who provided more value than Ryan Wright last year.
I know, and I'm sure that there are a lot of Vikings podcasters.
I'm just going to tell you this, Paul. Do you think the offense isn't going to need a punter this year?
No, we can use a punter, but I see that news, and yes, Ryan Wright is a very good punter, but I wasn't like heartbroken that Ryan Wright is gone. That to me, it's like, all right, if that's the big loss of the year for us, I'm gonna be okay. Like we can go on.
Well, here's the truth about the Minnesota Vikings is, and maybe this won't be good for our podcast numbers. It's hard for me to care about the Vikings offseason because it feels like there's only one thing that matters. It's quarterback. We haven't signed our guy yet. And no matter who we sign at quarterback, it feels like everything they do feels like it's pretty unlikely to matter.
I think that we're still suffering from the effects of the high to the low of 2024 to 2025 because this is still a team that has talent on it, and
we were one game from winning the division last year.
Yeah, and that's true. Jalen Naylor is it might not seem like a big loss to most people. He was really good. He's a really good number 3 receiver. At times, honestly, kind of like looked like the number 2 somewhere.
There were games where he was the only player on offense doing anything.
He was great. I think he had one of the best separation percentages in football.
You can't look at 450 yards and say he was no good when you look at what our offense
he was really, and then so Javon Hargrave's gone. Jonathan Allen's going to be gone on the interior of the line. Aaron Jones is gone. There are rumors about Jonathan Grenard getting traded. We'll see if that happens.
Harrison Smith is gone.
Smith's gone. But we should have Eric Wilson, Ivan Pace, and Jalen Redmond back. it's looking like, right? I believe we have those guys.
We can't lose them. We signed the restricted.
Yeah, we have them all back.
I'm so happy Jalen. I mean, I wish Jalen Redmond were getting paid more because he deserves it, but I'm so happy he's a restricted free agent.
I thought we were going to lose him, and I thought there was a chance we lost him, and I'm very Jalen Redmond was one of the great success stories for the Vikings last year in a very disappointing season. And James Pierre, cornerback from Pittsburgh, who I didn't know too much about, but every Steeler fan I've talked to has said, yeah, that guy was really good. Like very, very underrated. Jack's younger brother, Jeffrey, said most underrated cornerback in football. So take that however you may. But most people seem to think that James Pierre is a really nice find for the Vikings. I haven't seen anyone say otherwise.
We just need competence. He doesn't have to be great. He just has to not be horrible.
No, I mean, you look up and down the Vikings roster right now, and defensively at least, right? You go, okay, if Pierre can be decent, you got...
No, I mean, Paul, you look up and down the roster. If you ignore the position and the first line, you say this roster looks like one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to, real quick, I'll go through it. Like, we need some more help at defensive tackle. The edge rushers are stacked. I think the linebacker crew with Cashman and Eric Wilson, you feel decent about. And then the secondary, right? You have Byron Murphy, you have Isaiah Rodgers and James Pierre, Josh McCown.
Bring in a free safety.
Yeah, and I
mean, go through the offense too. Like
offensively,
we need a running back, right? Like Jordan Mason's not going to cut it, but you got one of the best wide receiver duos at Jefferson Madison. Yeah, you want a wide receiver 3, but TJ Hawkinson's still there. You've got Darisaw and O'Neal at tackle. Figure out one interior offensive line position. Yeah, there's only one problem.
You're gonna need a center with Ryan Kelly gone.
We need a center last year too, though.
But no, we're gonna need a center, and yeah. So what I'm thinking right now. What was your question here? You wrote, "What should Minnesota's goal be?"
No, well, let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
How should I think that there's anything the Vikings can do to be competitive next year?
100%. The perception around the Vikings right now is very different than the reality. The perception is this is a team that completely fell apart after having one of the... I'm sorry. That perception is obviously right. The perception is that they're going to continue to fall apart after having one of the biggest blunder decisions in recent memory.
Not recent memory.
Maybe ever. Maybe just
Rip
ever.
Van Winkle's memory.
Yeah, sure. And I just think after we go through that, right, you say that's a pretty talented football team. And people hate Kyler Murray. I think he's going to be the guy they bring in, and they're going to get him for what, $1 million. Kyler's going to make $36 million from the Cardinals next year. The Vikings are going to get Kyler Murray, in my guess, for dirt cheap. And I hope that I saw Daniel Jeremiah say, if I were the Vikings, I'd get Kyler Murray and I'd trade up for Jeremiah Love. And if you insert, and that, right, that's easier said than done. But if you insert Kyler Murray and Jeremiah Love onto the roster we just said, and you have JJ and Kyler battle it out, and look, if JJ beats him out, that's fine. And that's a team that can compete. So
I'll tell you this, I'm not sure we need to trade up for Jeremiah Love. All the teams that need running backs ahead of us have just made moves.
Yeah. So I actually feel decent about them right now. It just all comes down to if JJ sucks, they're obviously going to suck, and I don't feel great about that. But I've always liked Kyler Murray. I think he can be good, and when that move gets done, and if they don't get Kyler, I will be a little bummed out because I'd like to have that competition. But yeah, I feel decent, right, with the Vikings and where they are right now.
Well, at this point, it is Kyler or bust, right? Daniel Jones is not available. Geno Smith is not available. Kenny Pickett is not available.
I mean, where else is Kyler going to... I know the Cardinals are trying to trade him or something right now, but like...
No one's trading for him.
Yeah, like where else can he go right now? Like, seriously, when we think about this, if the Steelers don't... If Rodgers doesn't come back, it could be Pittsburgh, but they don't seem to be interested. I think Rodgers is going to...
Cleveland?
No, he's not going to. Why would he go to Cleveland? Like, he's going to be a Viking, and it's.
I'm just trying to find any other team he could go to. The Jets, but no, the Jets just traded for Geno. Yeah, there's nothing left.
Be a backup for sure. Yeah, so Kyler Murray is going to be a Viking.
Say if he wants to be a backup for Tyler
For Shock, yeah, he'll be a backup.
He would not.
I mean, the only spot
1,000% he would be a backup.
if you want to be a backup, he should go to LA and play for the Rams.
Yeah, and he could inherit that team after that is something I also heard. But I don't think Kyler's going to want to do that.
Yeah, why would you do that when you can, start?
Yeah. So
with Minnesota, I'd have to say he's got at least a 50% chance of winning that job week 1.
Yeah,
I don't. Daniel Jones last year, I think, was 100% right to say you guys aren't going to give me a fair shot. This year, you're going to get your fair shot.
100%. I like. Again, it's for Vikings fans need to move on from what happened with Darnold. For where we are right now, I think Kyler's the best of all the quarterbacks they could have gotten. When you go through Geno, you go through Tua, right? Even if you throw Daniel Jones, I think I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Daniel Jones. I know a lot of people probably disagree with that. The only guy that I would take would probably be Rodgers, but it looks like he'll go back to Pittsburgh if he returns. So all things considered, you're going to get Kyler Murray. What's the contract going to be? $1 million?
Yeah, it's going to be minimum because the Cardinals contract has an offset.
Yeah, so you're getting, in my opinion, the best possible free agent quarterback for the least amount of money, and that to me is a win. So I feel pretty good about where the Vikings are actually at right now. It's just things are going to have to go their way, but you might be surprised how quickly it can turn around. Okay, just a couple more things here, and then we'll wrap it up. I do just want to mention, because Jack's not here, and when Jack comes on, I don't know if we're going to have another show, but the Steelers have made a bunch of moves here.
They're really trying to lure Aaron Rodgers back.
Yeah. So they go out and get Michael Pittman. They bring Rico Dowdle in as well.
He sucks. He can't do anything.
Who, Dowdle?
Yeah. Rico Dowdle, what's he going to do? Put up 200 yards in a game? Yeah, right.
Yeah. Rico Dowdle, that might he's a good running. But what did we say last year? Then we were like, there's no shot. And then didn't he rip off the 200-yard game after we said that?
Rico Dowdle, I'm referencing, to be clear for the Rico Dowdle fans out there, I'm referencing the fact that there was no player in the NFL I was more wrong about than him last year.
But yeah, you bring in Pittman and Dowdle now, and all of a sudden that Steeler offense that felt devoid of talent. I like Michael.
Well, it's devoid of talent at offensive line.
Yes, at offensive line. Yes, still that's very. Jack's been saying the whole. Didn't Jack say what? Get a receiver and then draft 7 offensive linemen. We'll be good to go.
And I'll say, when we're talking about the Vikings and the Lions needing to improve offensive line, we're talking 1 or 2 positions. The Steelers need to improve at least 4.
Well, what's funny too about the Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman, if you compare the two guys, Michael Pittman had the most receptions on the Colts last year. He had 80.
He's the better player. This was a financial move for Indianapolis.
Yeah, no, but I think the way that we've been the media's been talking about it, it's like you'd think Alec Pierce was, the number 1 receiver in Indianapolis, just lighting it up every week. I mean, he led the league, I believe, in yards per reception. But Michael Pittman is there was a time not that long ago where he looked like one of the next breakout receivers in football. And he's regressed a little bit from that point production-wise. But he's still a really good player, and he big, right, tall dude. Was he 6'4"? Him and DK are both 6'4".
They don't like him being on the Steelers because of DK being there.
Because of what? Because the two of them?
Yeah. I think you're getting the same player.
But I mean, look, if you're asking me right now, you can get Michael Pittman for a 6-7 swap or DJ Moore for a 2-5 swap. Pittman's a bargain.
Yeah. Oh, easily. And I do really like Rico Dowdle is a beast. That's a great signing for them, and they still have, right. They didn't lose Warren, right?
No, they did not.
So Gainwell's gone, but you bring Rico Dowdle in, and I mean they got a couple tight ends you like too. Jack's right. Just draft a bunch of offensive linemen, and that offense should be a lot better.
Though you should with the Steelers, and I know people aren't used to hearing this. The defense does need to improve too.
Well, what did they get? Jamal Dean came in.
They finally signed Asante Samuel.
Remember,
it was been a year ago. We kept saying
Samuel.
the signs Asante Samuel was going to have a difference maker, and it just took a year.
They lost Pierre, though.
I mean, JPJ is great.
If Rodgers comes back, I still don't think that they're with the way the offensive line looks, I still think
you're asking a lot from 36-year-old Cam Hayward, 32-year-old TJ Watt.
They're an old team. I mean, even DK's getting older, right? What's DK now? Is he 30 yet? So
I hope not.
I still think they're making good moves.
Yeah, DK's 28. Okay, I'm not that old.
I still think they're making decent moves to get Rodgers back. I think he will be back. I am still of the opinion that they're going to come up a little bit short there. And I heard John Middlecoff talk about this today, and I totally agree with him. When we were talking about Mike McCarthy going to Pittsburgh, he was like, McCarthy, resume wise, stacks up pretty similar to Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. All right, one-time Super Bowl champ, couple, some disappointing playoff runs, and you just think about how those guys are perceived around the league. John Harbaugh, right? This, great coach that everyone respects, and the Giants bring him in. It's like awesome. He's going to restore the Giants. Mike Tomlin's a cool coach who, never had a losing season. Mike McCarthy didn't do a lot of losing. I mean, he's 3 straight 12-win seasons in Dallas. He was constantly competitive with Rodgers in Green Bay. Yeah, there were some epic playoff failures. Like, he's a better coach than people realize.
You can't sign a perennial Super Bowl champion as your head coach. You're going to have to get a guy that has some flaw or problem.
But even, I'm just saying, people.
No, I'm saying, but the problem is he doesn't take his teams far enough. And if you're the Steelers, you're saying we can work with that.
Yeah, 100%. Because people were lining up for Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. And McCarthy, it felt like, and I did Middlecoff also said, I wonder if it's because of his weight, right? He's a little goofy. Like, you make fun of him a little bit more. And I don't think that's not fair to Mike McCarthy. But maybe that is part of it. It's like,
you can't say the complaint everyone brings out about Mike McCarthy's is not innovative and forward thinking enough. Would anyone describe Mike Tomlin or John Harbaugh as forward thinking, cutting edge coaches?
No, but here we were with every fan base that needed a coach was holding up signs right outside of the Harbaugh and Tomlin households, trying to get them to come. So I did just want to quickly hit on. So what do we hit now? We hit Malik, we hit the Steelers, hit the whole NFC North. Zack's actually looking at his watch, probably like, man, I got
Look, you only get free agency once a year.
Mike Evans, the 49ers, I love for San Francisco. I'm just trying to hit some of the things that I missed out. That Ziggy had takes on. Mike Evans, San Fran, I loved. Zack, you have to. He has to, as far as you're considered Mike Evans guy on this show, you gotta be happy for him, right?
Oh, I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice.
That's the best. I mean, do I think a whole lot of other teams probably could have used him? Yeah.
And it is at that price coming off the injuries. It is risky.
You know what? Now that I think about it, probably San Fran does need him because I forgot that Ayuk's gone.
Ayuk's gone and Debo's not there anymore, right? Debo's been gone. Like the San Francisco 49ers, that
Kendrick Bourne's gone.
We do just have to take one step back and say the Brandon Ayuk story was insane.
Very weird.
I've never seen a team put a player on the didn't show up list before. This is a guy who had $100 million to lose by not coming into work, and he just didn't come into work.
Yeah,
it's hurt too.
I don't know.
He wasn't coming in for his injury rehab. They didn't feel like it. And when the 49ers said, "Hey, we're putting you on the not coming into work list if you don't come into work," he said, "Okay."
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's honest. I guess he doesn't care. But yeah, that was a very weird story.
Could it be a coincidence that Mike Evans is getting exactly the dollar amount they were supposed to give Brandon Ayuk this year? No.
Mike Evans
off the face of the earth.
Yeah, Ayuk was on the verge of superstardom, and now it's like, what the hell happened to that guy? But no, Evans, talk about swapping, right? Someone who's not showing up for work for just the ultimate pro. Mike Evans' consistency.
Well, last year he didn't show up to work a lot because he was hurt. That's why not every team was interested. And
you're right, Ziggy. There is a little bit of risk there. I was surprised that was 3 years, right? Mike Evans is not the spring chicken anymore.
I'd be surprised if it's really 3 years.
Yeah, so would I.
I think it's like the Von Miller deal.
Probably, yeah. But
the Von Miller deal was an actual 5-year deal that just blew up.
If he still has some juice left in the tank, and I think Mike Evans does, even when he came back, remember when he got hurt immediately after coming back against Detroit last year? Every time he touched the field for Tampa, even with Ibuka playing well at the start of the year, Godwin getting healthier as the year went on, when he was on the field, he was, I thought, by far the best receiver.
And the good news is, if you're Mike Evans, you don't have to be the number one option in San Francisco. Christian McCaffrey can be the number one option. George Kittle can take a lot of targets.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And now, for the first time in your career, you get to play with a borderline top 5 quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. And Ricky Pearsall's there too. I mean, they like that's a right. Ricky.
Yeah.
Kyle Juszczyk's there.
There's nothing wrong with Pearsall, right now. I think
no. I mean, he's primed to break out in a big way. I think
it's they're another team. They're getting so many guys back from injury, but San Francisco could be dangerous next year. I like Brock Purdy. I'm not going to argue with you, Ziggy. We've had this argument before.
We don't need to have it now.
Yeah, but it was good rage baiting right there. Okay, we'll wrap it up here because the Raiders, Jets, and Titans. This is a great way to wrap up a show. The Raiders, Jets, and Titans all had a flurry of moves, right? The Titans bring in Alontae Taylor on a 3-year, $60 million deal. A lot of people I know hate that. John Franklin Myers, they bring in another cornerback, Cordell Flott. I don't know a lot about Cordell Flott, but the Titans are just throwing money all over the place. The Jets and Raiders kind of did the same thing, and people seem to be very, very upset with that. I know you, Ziggy, for one of those teams, think that one of the worst deals in the history of football was made.
The Tyler Linderbaum contract is, process-wise, I'm not talking the actual impact it'll have on the team, is the second worst contract in the rookie wage scale era, behind only Deshaun Watson.
And that was from 2011, right? On?
Yeah. Ever since, because you can look back at, say, the Sam Bradford contract of the Vikings and say that, or not the Vikings or the Rams, and say that was really bad. I'm not thinking of that. Since rookies have been paid fixed amount of monies based on their draft position. I don't understand. Tyler Linderbaum's a good player. I want to be clear. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I'm saying even if he were the best center in the NFL, he got a 50% pay raise over Creed Humphrey. He sat back and said, and I've never seen this before. He said, hey, teams pay players at positions I don't play a lot of money. You should pay me what they make. He's not a guard. Why does he get a contract that makes him the highest paid interior offensive lineman by 20%?
It almost felt like with the Raiders, because we talked about the Kwity Paye deal too, and Kwity Paye got 3-year, $48 million deal. I mean, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I need to refresh. Kwity Paye.
The Kwity Paye deal was bad, but at least it has a decent salary in the third year.
What was Kwity Paye last year? Did he played in every game?
Played 17 games and 4 sacks.
And he got a lot of money.
hey, 6 tackles for loss, 9 QB hits, 1 pass defense.
I like Jalen Naylor. They got right. We were just talking. I like Jalen Naylor.
The Naylor contract's fine.
Nakobe Dean and Quay Walker are both decent linebackers, but I don't think either one of them you look at and go stud.
Look, every time you get a free agent, you're getting a player that the previous team said we don't want to pay them at that price. So if you're signing a lot of guys to mid-tier value contracts, all their previous teams, if you're Green Bay could use some great linebacker play, couldn't they? Why are they letting Quay Walker go when they've got a bunch of cap space and he's not very expensive?
It felt like the Raiders a bit were in a situation where they just had so much money. They were we just need to spend it.
It's what the Patriots did in 2022.
Now here's one thing we can point out, though. It can work. Milton Williams was someone that the Patriots paid a lot of money. We didn't know if how good he was going to be coming into more of a full-time role, right? After the Eagles, he had more of a rotational role with that team. And he was great. He was awesome for them.
But a lot of that team's success was driven by having a quarterback breakout too. It wasn't just the free agents.
Absolutely. But we can still point at the Raiders, and even if you're down on Kwity Paye or you think Linderbaum is a huge, or all of this can be true. If Mendoza comes in and is good, the team is better than they were last. The roster, right?
Yeah.
Even with these guys getting overpaid, it's a better roster. Mendoza comes in and is decent. This is what I've been saying the whole offseason. Your team can change very quickly when you have a lot of money and you have the first overall pick and there's a quarterback you like. So even though, maybe you're looking at this and going, okay, there's some questionable deals we're giving out here. I don't think it's crazy to think the Raiders can be more competitive then you think maybe not next year, but once Mendoza settles in.
Well, in 2 or 3 years, almost all the guys they signed to these deals will be gone from the team for not being productive.
Well, maybe I'm saying in year 2 of Mendoza.
In year 2,
you're saying because lack of.
Like, I'll just say this, Paul. Have you ever seen The Sopranos?
No, but I know how it ends.
There's this guy named Artie Bucco on The Sopranos. He runs a restaurant, and somebody in his restaurant really screws him over. So he gathers all his employees together, and he says, "The way you treat me, it's nonstop." And then he says some expletives. If I were an agent negotiating with the Raiders, if I were Brock Bowers' agent, I'm prepared to do that to the Raiders. Because if you're Brock Bowers' agent, you can say, well, hold on now. If we're paying players based on positions they don't play, he should get $42 million a year. He should get what Jamar Chase gets. They both catch the ball. They both play a receiver-esque position.
The Raiders might just do it. The Raiders might.
But that's the thing now. You have set a precedent where players can just get paid whatever they want if they just come and ask nicely. Who were they even negotiating against with Tyler Linderbaum? I'd be surprised if any other team offered within $10 million of what they offered him.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like, yeah, you're right. I mean, hey, they got
you don't want to set precedents like this as a negotiator because it will come back to bite you every time.
Look, Ziggy, they just got Maxx Crosby back too. So, I mean, this team.
Yeah.
Quiddy Pay, Maxx Crosby on that line. Linderbaum, they're fortified.
Maxx Crosby seems to like the Raiders. Maybe if you apologize, he'll come back.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
They can, in fact, people are saying the Raiders will have salary cap trouble. No, they won't. They can afford him.
This is. If you're a Raiders fan and you can afford him, can they actually afford him?
Pretty easily,
right? Like, I know they had more money than anyone this year.
If they want to keep him around, they can restructure up to $30 million of his dollars and push it into the future. I guess not $30 million. I mean, 27 or 28.
You just can't. I don't think after having everything fall the way it did. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Raider fan,
it could be fun.
I'd be like, yeah, I'd love to keep him around. It could be. Yeah, it would be big. All right, we'll wrap it up there. We'll see what the rest of the schedule looks like for this week. I'd imagine we'll be back next week with some stuff. But look, the Vikings might make a quarterback move. We know
tomorrow brings us.
Yeah, we'll see what the day brings us. So appreciate everyone for tuning in. Ziggy, Zach, thanks for staying around a little bit longer. I know it got a little crazy with the Crosby stuff. And we'll be back with I guess there'd be like a brief instant reaction to something at some point this week. But if not, we'll see you Monday.